Good evening, everybody. We're having one of the typical Pittsburgh evenings when I was growing up. The reason I left Pittsburgh was you'd get into March and it would start warming up, and you were so anxious for warm weather, spring weather, and you'd be outside in your shirt sleeves and enjoying the weather, thinking, good, the spring is here, and then bam, another snowstorm would come in, and it would be cold and snowy, and the ground was all wet and soppy for another 3 weeks. So tonight it's cold. Yeah. All right. Here's how you can analyze 60 degrees in Denver. That's way warmer than here. We're like at 40. This is why knowing what should happen based upon a trend. It's warm there all year round. All right. I love Fort Lauderdale. You know, I had a buddy in high school drive down there and stay right on the beach. I think all those hotels that we stayed in are long gone. All right. Here's two criteria that can dramatically, let's see, volume a little low. How's that? Dramatically improve your analysis of an overall trend. First of all, we got the simple rule of the T-line. As long as you're above the T-line, you're in an uptrend. If you're below the T-line, you're in a downtrend. So the rhetorical question is, well, what if it closes below and then goes up and then goes back down? What's that telling you? Well, obviously, it's telling you it doesn't know which way it wants to go. So if that's the case, and you can't figure out which way it's going because the market can't figure out which way it wants to go, then you just kind of stay out of the market, and or whatever positions you're in better be relatively strong, whether you're long or short. Now, you add the factor that you got a doji today, and we know that the doji rule makes it very simple to analyze. Is the Dow Jones Bollinger Index. Is the Dow Jones Bollinger Index. I don't know what that means. Are you asking, is it a boring index? Is it a... Repeat the question, Bill. Oh, is Boeing in the Dow Jones? Probably. Yes, I think so. So anyways, with the doji, I mean, a lot of people look at this and they say, we don't know what it's doing. We can look at it and say, all right, we've got the doji rule, which means two things. If it opens lower, what do we got going on? Maybe a bearish doji sandwich, more downside. Maybe down to this support level, same magnitude as that. If it opens positive, what do we got going on? You can kind of see right now, there's kind of a wedge formation in progress that might be staying in that trading range. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Boeing is part of the Dow. So if we take that same analysis over here to the NASDAQ, kind of the same scenario. The only thing that is not compelling on this reversal is the fact that this is not a sell signal. Now, it doesn't negate the fact that it might not trade lower. It's just it's not a strong sell signal, which means maybe we're doing something like this. Let's see if I can. Something like that, where we're still in an uptrend. So tomorrow will be very important to see how the futures are planning to open up the market. Same scenario in the S&P 500. Maybe we're in a uptrending channel. Something along those lines. So at least if we can analyze what everybody else might be watching, and we know what should happen after a doji. If it opens positive, all right, maybe this is a little consolidation in this uptrend. If it opens negative, maybe they're coming down to the bottom of the trend channel. Now, does that necessarily mean it's going to bounce here at the this trend channel? Definitely not. But if we put that trend channel on there, and we see that it gets down here and then starts hovering, and we go to our 10-minute chart, and it looks like the 10-minute chart's coming back up, we've got a lot quicker analysis to tell us, yeah, that was a support level. That's the place where you want to start start watching your short positions and or start going long again. All right, so with that analysis, there are some things that kind of offset that analysis, like a fry pan bottom. WPM, just holding on to this one because notice what it's doing even though the market has been trading lower. The fry pan bottom, we'll get to here in a little bit, has some very relevant factors. You have JH. The only reason that doesn't mean a whole lot right now is whatever the futures are doing right at this moment has absolutely nothing to do with what it's probably going to be doing at 9:23 tomorrow morning before the market opens. So through the years, I've discovered you don't really pay attention to what the futures are doing this early before the open. Because there's too often where you look at the futures and you see they're up 200 on the Dow in the evening, and you say, oh boy, tomorrow's going to be a good strong open. You wake up and they're down 150. So the only time that the futures become a relevant analytical tool is about 10 minutes before the market opens. It'll give you an idea of which way they're going to take the market open. Okay, so a few of the positions that we got on right now, acting reasonably well. You can see what's happening in TLRA, J-hook pattern, and they still haven't been able to close this below the T-line. AKVA, still staying up above the T-line ever since our message right here. Now, where's our first target? Likely back up at least to that level, because that's the level everybody else can see. We had recommended big a while back. It's consolidated, and this is where the advantage of seeing what candlestick signals are doing at the T-line puts us in situations where we can start going after positions well before TLRA is up more after hours. Let's take a look. TLRA right now is, oops, I don't see. It's not showing right now. So anyways, look at our bullish Harami. Selling has stopped. Bullish engulfing signal. Now kind of a doji sandwich. You can see the trajectory. You can see we got a J-hook pattern. It's probably a good one to start buying. Okay, so it's up another 50 cents, so that's a good sign. All right. Now, we've been watching SGEN. And I guess I'll use this to what is the on 150 shares? Yes. Yeah, that's why you need to watch what the bid is after hours. Why is this a relevant chart? Anybody see anything happening here that would make this interesting? There you go. Yes, the wedge. So when you can kind of visually see that there's a wedge formation in progress, tells us right here, you're getting excited that if they broke out, kind of broke out of the wedge. Today, it sold off pretty hard, but look where it closed, right back up above the T-line. Look at your stochastic, still coming up. So there's still a viable possibility that we could see this break out of this wedge formation. And if it did, have another move, another 20-point move, taking you up into about the $95 area. Does it have to close above the wedge? Yes. It has to close above the wedge, because if it doesn't close above the wedge, where is it? It's still in the wedge. So the critical analysis on this is, they close it up here, that tells you they've broken out of the wedge. That's when you want to be buying. Yeah, you got to, so yeah, even though you had a bullish engulfing signal followed by two dojis, what was the overall pattern? It was still telling you they hadn't broken out yet. So if that's the case, what do you do with this one? Just keep it on your watch list, waiting for it to break out to the upside. Would the stop go below the wedge or the T-line? Right now, you shouldn't be in it. If it opened above, or if it started trading up above and closed up here, and the next day it opened positive, you don't want to see it close back into the wedge, because that means it didn't break out. What's the whole point of watching for a wedge breakout? Is that it should have a strong price move. So if it opened positive and started trading positive, and then turn around and close back down here, you're still in the wedge. It's not doing what it's supposed to, close it right back out. ENLC, see the wave right now, and they still haven't been able to close this below the T-line. But what's our simple rule of the doji? It's going to move in the direction how they open it after a doji. So it definitely has to open positive. And we're looking at UYMC. We've got make this a little bit smaller, wave 1, wave 2, and what's the little pattern on wave 2? You can see the scoop pattern. What do we expect coming out of a scoop pattern? That slingshot effect. And what would we guess would be the magnitude of this wave right here? Hopefully the same magnitude as this wave right here. How long do we hold this? As long as it doesn't close back below the T-line. That same type of scenario, when it broke out through this level, what do we got going on? Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. But look what's happening right now. We're buying it. Oh, I didn't want to do that. We're buying it on the basis that we're looking for wave 3 of that magnitude. But what is our number one criteria for coming out? When we see a sell signal and a close back below the T-line. We're expecting this, but you have to do your actual analysis of what type of signals or where is the sellers taking control. So if this one opened lower tomorrow, you close out the position. It needs to open positive and trade positive to continue this wave. So we recommended Papa John's because it pretty much was coming out of this wedge. Why do I have, there is not a, I want to move. Put on the moving average. That up. $100. Oops, add. That's what we were looking for. But that's not the right color. Play. Red. And make the line 1.4. Whoops. This is not working well. 1.4. Oh, man, this is not working. What's happening here? That's because it went to 11.4. This is just, oh. All right, let's try that. All right, that's what we were looking for. That was easy. All right, and that's not even in the right place. All right, do this again. No, that's the problem. Simple. Apply. Okay. All right, there we go. Yeah. Okay, thank you. All right, so look what we got. A fry pan bottom with the breakout level right about here. And we've also got this little resistance level at the 200. Now we got a best friend bobble breakout. So now we go to our next step. What do we want to see after the best friend breakout of a bobble breakout, fry pan bottom breakout? We want to see strength. So today, obviously, was not a day to be buying this position because it opened and traded lower. So where would we want to be buying? Tomorrow they opened it and they came back up through this level, especially through today's open. That would be a good indication that the bulls are stepping back in, doing what they were supposed to on a bobble breakout, fry pan bottom breakout, best friend confirmation. So this one you keep on your list because if it opens and trades positive, what's the expected result? Kind of a fry pan bottom breakout that could take you all the way back up into this range. Which means if you see this start trading positive tomorrow, might take a look at a call spread or even buying the calls. Up to overhead supply. Yeah, that was up there at the Okay. Well, for crying out loud. Okay. Micron, another one that had kind of a move up. So it has to open positive and trade positive tomorrow to give us our bobble breakout setup. AXSM. You can see right here a little scoop pattern. Now you've got a trend kicker signal. You stay long on this one. And ACIA was one that you closed out, or should have closed out, because when it got up here to the breakout level, what did it do? It failed. Is it going to come back up here? We don't know. So with it closing below the T line and below the open of the candle that told us the bulls were trying to break out, that told us to close it back out. What's the worst case scenario? We see a cup and handle type setup. We can always buy back in. Okay, the biggies. Labu traded lower today, but then came back up above the 50. But is there any other relevant factor that you can see where it closed? Well, if you're watching what everybody else is watching, it pretty much draw a trend right up through the bottoms, held that level, and for everybody that was watching the 50, it was telling them that it held the 50. So if this opens positive tomorrow, where do you think the first target's going to be? Right back up to the T line. Maybe not in one day, but over the next few days. Nugget also is showing us is what a belt hold. On Labu, Lou, all right. What is a belt hold? Where should a belt hold open? That's right. A belt hold would have opened way down here and then closed back up here as a green candle. This is just a doji at this level. We'll come across a belt hold sometime. I'll show you. Where are we? Nugget. Okay, so Nugget. Even if you didn't trade Nugget, what was Nugget telling you? Just telling you that gold stocks probably can be bought. I'll find a belt hold for you, Lou. Gold stocks probably can be bought. This relevant? Pretty much. It broke out through that level, kind of doing a J-hook pattern. AGI, steady uptrend. AU, steady uptrend. Where is this got the prospects of moving to? Back up into this area. So, did I do AG? I did AG. AG was the one that broke out. And I think MAG was another one. Notice when it did the little piercing signal and gap up, J-hook pattern, just stay long. Let's see, is KGCA gold stock? Yes. Another one you can be buying. Look at the morning star type signal. And where did it occur? Right smack dab off the 50-day moving average. Okay, so other of the biggies. Roku, I put in that category. Starting back up. you can be buying this one on positive trading. Now, the reason you want positive trading is if it continues in this trajectory, the slower that trajectory is, the more likely the bulls get bored and they slam it again. So what you really want to see is a lot of strength. I would rather be paying, what did it close today? 690. I'd rather pay up for it knowing that it's moving in this direction versus this direction. Amazon, you can see where this kind of supported on the T-line. What are we looking for now? Positive trading. We want it to stay above the T-line. Apple, I guess they had their big announcement today, but that didn't seem to move the stock any. Which means it has to open positive if you're long. If it opens lower, it's got to have a failure here at the 200. NVIDIA needs to open positive and stay above the T-line tomorrow. When you mean slower uptrend versus quick, do you mean by trading up for a number of days or by volume? No, by all we're worried about is price. Which one were we looking at? Roku. Volume doesn't matter. What we want to see is a J-hook pattern set up versus a very slow trajectory. The slower that trajectory, the more likely something could move, or they get bored, or the bulls get bored, then they'll slam it again. NVIDIA, that would be up to you. That'll be a function of how bad the market opens tomorrow. So if they open this lower, giving you kind of a bearish doji, where's your next prospective support level? Back down here at the 50-day moving average. And Netflix, so Netflix, you kind of ask the rhetorical question, which way is this going right now? Really don't know. However, there's one element that you kind of keep in mind, that when you see a fry pan bottom, it's not unusual to see big whipsaw. So I would still be a buyer of Netflix on positive trading, because when it came up here to break out and you got this whipsaw, if they continue it up, that's part of the breakout. Justin, hang on to your individual positions till I tell Jim to do the double line, then you can put it in. Tesla has a trend channel that's all the way down here. So Tesla will be also easy to trade. If you're short, you don't want to see it trade back up above today's high. What you'd like to see it do is open lower and do a bearish doji sandwich again, continuing the downtrend. Facebook, I don't trade very much, but you can see where you're starting to see buy signals right here at the 50. It's still not a very exciting stock to trade, but if it starts trading higher, where's your next target? Coming back up here. So at least you got an option strategy to put into place. And we're watching ALGN. That's this one's been good. And notice where it's reversed again. A doji, hammer, bullish kind of morning star signal. Right now it's doing a little consolidation. I want to see it open positive. If it opens positive, where do you think the next likely target will be? Up here, kind of a wave 1, wave 3. Okay, so those were the biggies. The reason we kind of profess to learn different patterns and learn them extremely well, so that you don't have to be all across the board looking at different things and wondering how how effective they are or how well they work. If you just learn 4 or 5 and learn them very well, you know exactly what to do. And I always emphasize the fact that if you learn 4 candlestick signals, like the fry pan bottom breakout, the J hook, the best friend, the left-right combo, the kicker signal, with just a handful, and you learn each one extremely well so that you become an expert at it, you're always going to have more trades than you ever be able to handle. And with that, you'll have trades that, more trades so that you can go through and cultivate which ones are the best ones out of those trades. So we recommended Mandela's, I don't know, this one, because of the left-right combo breakout of the fry pan bottom and what's kind of our trajectory from here. Hopefully the same magnitude as this right here. And why is this relevant? Look what's happened in the market over the last 2 days, and look what the fry pan bottom has done in the last 2 days. So whenever you're looking at a pattern, it's because that pattern has been developing in spite of what the overall market trend has been doing. Look at where your dimple was right here, Morningstar signal, right smack dab off the 50. And look where your breakout was right here. You stay long. Trajectory from what point? C or SD, I don't know, from the time you broke out. Remember, your visual analysis is based upon the fact that you can see there's a slow rounding bottom occurring. This tells you probably have a lot more strength in this price move, no matter what the overall market. What's the question? Trajectory from what point? Trajectory. If this is wave 1, just figure somewhere from right around in here, wave 3. Doesn't have to be an exact science. It's just kind of rule of thumb that this wave and this wave will be approximately the same. But what makes the final criteria for when this trend is over? Being a sell signal confirmed. What was I doing? Look where you are right now. And what are the different applications you can put onto this one? Look where your doji is. What's the simple rule of the doji? Going to move in the direction of how they open after a doji. So if they open this positive, what's it telling you about the resistance level? It's not there anymore. You're probably in wave 3. Okay, so the other sector that seems to be working right now is the home builders. I don't know why I've got this one on here. I guess because we're getting near a breakout level. MTH. Look at your Morningstar signal off the 200 doji sandwich. That one you can be buying. Lou, this is kind of your belt hold. Notice your trend here, trend, and then they gap way down and bring it back. So your belt hold could be a bullish engulfing signal. It could be a piercing signal, or it could just be gapping way down and just coming back into the trading range. They call it a belt hold because the Japanese rice traders say the two sumo wrestlers are fighting. One's trying to back out of the ring. The other one grabs his belt and pulls them back in, and they're back to fighting again. Yeti, look what's setting up, a J-hook pattern. Is expectations for wave 3 versus wave 1 similar points or percentage? I just use it as the same magnitude move. Now, obviously, from here to here might be 25%, but from here, that same move from this level may only be 20% because of the higher price. But I can kind of calculate that wave 3 is going to be somewhat the same as wave 1. Lennar, Morningstar signal with an inverted hammer, Morningstar signal with a big hammer signal, Doji sandwich. You can be buying this one because where do you think your next expected target should be? Out. How about this one? And what is this signal right here? Right off the 50-day moving average. There you go. McMuffin, a Morningstar signal, followed by a Doji sandwich, or your morning sandwich, or your McMuffin. So what is implied after a candlestick Morningstar reversal signal? More upside. What is implied from a Doji sandwich? More upside. So when you got both of those combined, got a high probability that you're going to get more upside. Boot Barn. Well, for crying out loud. What is the significant factor on this chart? We're looking at this. 34 EMA. Downtrend breakout. There you go. So if you've got wave 1, you've got buy signals right in here, and you've got this little that little resistance level. If they open this positive tomorrow, what's everybody that you don't even have to be a sophisticated technical investor? What can you see happening? Breaking this little resistance level. What's that telling us with these buy signals? That we could be in wave 3 with the same magnitude as this move right here. Doji sandwich in the overbought? No, what were we just looking at? That one's not in the overbought area. Which one were you referring to? There's a belt hold, Lou. There's your trend. Look how they gapped down and brought it back up. In this case, whether you want to call it a bullish engulfing signal, which it looks like it is, but the fact that they gapped it down, especially in the oversold area. Oh, still, if you see a Doji sandwich in the overbought area, expect more upside. So what would happen on this one if it opened positive tomorrow? You'd be confirming your belt hold and look at the little downtrend you'd be breaking. And where would this be doing all this? Right smack dab on the 50-day moving average. There's your best friend, ConAgra. Come on. There's your doji, gap up. So here's another one that if you were just DOJ. DOJ. Lou, I don't know what DOJ is. But your best friend is a doji, gap up, implies there's going to be more upside. An IBP, yeah, you could also say left-right combo, but it's a left-right combo, Morningstar signal, doji sandwich, just barely a left-right combo. So it doesn't matter what you call them, as long as you can analyze that this is a signal and this is a signal made by left-right combo signals. It's telling you there's more upside. On the downside, we recommended shorting here a while back, because when you have that doji gap down, that tells you there's a lot of selling pressure. Same scenario on ZOO. When you had that kicker type gap down, a lot of selling pressure. Anticipate more downside. So where's your target? Well, you've broken through the 50. There's a wee little teeny gap right there. That would be your first target. And SAMR, kind of your bearish doji sandwich, and kind of your trend kicker signal. Notice that this candle here was opened here, closed here, green candle. Next day they gapped it down, doing kind of a doji sandwich, and where did it close? Below the T-line. Notice what it did today. It traded down 40 cents. It was down lower than that. You can still short this if it opens lower because you've got another bearish doji sandwich. What you don't want to see is it close back up above the T-line. Now, closing back up above the T-line is different than seeing it trade back up above the doji, because look where your stochastics are, still heading down. Now, if the stochastics were in the oversold area, then you would put your stop at the high of the doji. And this one, it's been a toughie to trade, but if you're short, you stay short. As you can see the magnitude, maybe you can't see the magnitude. This stock went from 4 to 74 in a couple of days. Then there was your bearish harami. Now there's your downtrend. So when it came below the T-line, you could start shorting it. It doesn't look fantastically strong on the downtrend, but look at the percentage move. Today it was down 273, which I'm guessing was a good 8% or bigger to the downside. Hawaiian Air. That's nah. We went ha. You can see which way you're going. Here's wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. What would tell us there's more downside in wave 3? They opened it lower and did a bearish doji sandwich. That's usually a question that has to be kind of settled by the brokerage firm you're dealing with. So if you try to short it and they come back and say we don't have the stock, if you're really insistent, they can go get the stock from another brokerage firm, which is just a matter of them borrowing the stock from that other brokerage firm, which they usually have agreements with, and then forgot what I was saying. Oh, they lend it to you. I don't know. Does it? I didn't see that it had options. Does it have options? Okay, you can always buy the puts. Yes. So Ha, if it opens lower, you can short it. Delphi, you can see what's setting up here. If this opens lower, what do you got going on? A bearish J-hook pattern. So a lower open would be a relevant selling signal because you'd have a doji sandwich. But look what happened to it, the trading today. They took it right back to the T-line and failed and sold it off. That kind of gave you additional confirmation they couldn't get enough strength to bring it back up through the T-line. And GDS, same scenario. If this opens lower, doji sandwich, where do you think your first eventual target is? Probably down here at the 200. So with the market kind of in an iffy stage, you want to have a few potential shorts in case the market keeps going lower. The probabilities are going to be based upon how they open the market tomorrow. So if we wake up and see the pre-market futures are showing the Dow's going to open up 80 points, that tells us, all right, this little bottom of the wedge is in progress. If they open it down 80 points, that tells us we've got a bearish doji sandwich. We don't know what support level they might use. Okay, that's about all I got. Are there any general questions on candlesticks? If not, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. And in 3.8 seconds, do the next double line. John, if you can usually set up, I know I use Thinkorswim. So in my watch list, I've got the YMs, which are the futures for the Dow. And I can see where what they're doing before the market opens. Or I usually have the TV screen on, but no volume. Usually down on the bottom in the morning, they'll show what the futures are doing. And if you listen to some of the commentators, they'll say, the futures are down 40 points, so it looks like the market's going to open slightly lower. So they're either on your TV screen or you can set them up in your on your watch list and your whatever brokerage accounts you're using. Okay. Is this Alaska Air? Stay short. Or you can get ready to go short on weakness tomorrow. Southwest, stay short. American, stay short. So all of them are in that direction. Boeing showed a little strength here, so at this point, if I'd been short, I would have covered the short today. But I wouldn't be going long because you don't have anything showing whether the bulls or the bears are in control right now. AMD has to open positive. If it opens lower, especially I'd have a sell stop just below the T-line. It shouldn't move in that direction. Westinghouse Air, another one that you can go short if it opens lower tomorrow. giving you a bearish doji sandwich. CRBP, if you're long, you can stay long, but I would put a sell stop just below today's low or today's open. Because right now what you should be expecting is a bobble breakout to the upside. Another one that has to open positive if you're long, because notice your evening star signal. If they open this lower, get out, because now they might be coming back to the next support level. Another one that if you're long, it has to open positive. If you're thinking of going short, if it opens lower, you can short it on the bearish doji sandwich with the expectation you're heading back to the 50. Apple has to open positive if you're long. If it opens lower, it's telling you the 200-day moving average has acted as a resistance. Electronic Arts has to open positive also to keep any relevance of that's not the right word, any uptrending direction. Palo, same scenario. If it opens lower tomorrow, you've got a bearish doji sandwich in progress. NEP, nothing. I wouldn't be long. You can't short this stock because it's below $3, below $5. I wouldn't be buying this one until you saw enough strength to get it back up above the T-line. And XLF, you stay short on this one ever since your dark cloud failure at the 200, followed by a gap down, followed by your bearish doji sandwich. If they open this one lower tomorrow, you've still got a bearish doji sandwich again. So is that the Russell? The Russell did a little spinning top today. Doesn't necessarily mean anything. Still going to be based upon how they open it tomorrow. The Qs, same scenario. Based upon how they open it tomorrow. Uh-oh. ARQL. Nothing here yet. You're in a wedge. Still need to see this break out one way or the other. Right now, I wouldn't be long or short this one. And ACB, nothing yet either. You might have a piercing signal. If it opens positive, then your J-hook pattern will be in place. Momo, another one that you can buy on positive trading because your J-hook pattern would be evident because they're supporting right here on the 200. Remember our kind of criteria. If they breach a support or a resistance level, they'll come back and test it as support. So that makes this a very high probability trade that if it opens positive tomorrow, you can start buying. Boeing, we did. I wouldn't be long or short right now. There's no direction to it. The Qs, same scenario. It has to open positive tomorrow, and we did the Russell. Same scenario. VERI, this one you get ready to short, especially if it opens lower tomorrow. You can see the little slow curve. Doji, bearish confirmation. If it opens lower, you can start shorting it. CPE, same scenario. I wouldn't be as anxious to short this because you don't have a whole lot of direction. You actually looks like you've got the makings of a fry pan bottom setting up. So your downside potential on this may not be that spectacular. PBR, stay short. I would use that just as a safety factor because it is the same level. I would use the high of today, which is also the 50, as a stop. CGC, nothing here. I'd be more apt to get ready to go short. You can see you've got a big wedge type formation. I'd be ready to short this on weakness. Splunk, another one you can short. Not quite a bearish engulfing signal. So if you don't have quite a signal, now there's a signal. That's a big bearish engulfing. Notice that is not a signal. That means I'd be less inclined. Is it a blue ice failure? No, because it's above this. Had it come down and come up and failed at that level, you'd have a blue ice failure. So if you're shorting this one tomorrow, you're a little bit more suspect that it's not quite a major sell signal. Nothing on this one. CLDX, basically no direction. Need more information. The CLFS, the IFS, nothing here either. Not until you see a buy signal. CNBC, all right, yes, all the major investment stations will usually have the futures on their screen while everybody's talking. Dollar General, you can stay long if you happen to be long. Your first target is seeing if it's going to come back up and test that level. It wouldn't be anything that I'd really want to trade because there's not a whole lot there, but if you happen to be long, you stay with it. Keurig Dr. Pepper. Nothing of any real great magnitude on this one. If you are long, you can stay long as it stays above the T-line. Yes, backslash YM in TOS is the Dow futures. FLDM has to open positive and trade positive to kind of maintain this upward move. You've been saying lately when you see a buy signal and an overbought, start watching for a sell signal. Isn't that valid for a doji sandwich in the same direction? Yes, but I don't know which ones you're referring to. You're kind of picking out a condition that may not occur very often. But if I happen to see a doji sandwich occurring in the overbought area, I'll still stay long, but I'll be diligent as far as watching to see if there's any selling about to occur. AJRD, nothing here to get real excited about. If I was going to trade this one, I'd want to see it kind of break out through the top of this little channel. Derm, stay long as this 45 degrees stays in place. AXGN, nothing. If you're long, you can stay long, but you definitely need to see it break out of this area. Right now, there's nothing exciting about that stock. I think we did Electronic Arts, didn't we? Has to open positive tomorrow. This one, you can get ready to buy on positive trading. Your fry pan bottom breakout through the 50. Your next target would be fill in the gap up here. Dark cloud equals barrier engulfing at top. A dark cloud. Which one was the dark cloud? The bullish engulfing signal. I'm sorry, the bearish engulfing signal opens above the previous day's close and closes below the previous day's open. So the bearish engulfing candle completely engulfs the bullish candle of the previous day. Not necessarily the shadows, just the candle or the body. A dark cloud has to open above any of the previous day's trading, which means above the top of the shadow, and then close more than halfway down the body of the candle. I can't remember which one it was. Nio, if you're short, you stay short. Justin, you should have been buying puts here. Now you're just holding your position, waiting to see when a reversal signal occurs. So if you're already in the puts, you stay with them. I wouldn't be buying puts down here. If you are, you got to be a lot more scrutinizing as far as when any buying comes in. Okay, so we've got a very simple parameter tomorrow. When we wake up, the wedge will be in place if we see them open positive tomorrow. The bearish doji sandwich would tell us they're probably coming back down into this area on a weaker open. So with that, everybody have a good evening. We will see you bright and early in the morning. We'll see you then.